the first MCQ for today is based on this article which appeared on the editorial section of The Hindu. Now, basically this article is regarding, which I told you, the Sultan of Oman is on visit to India, right? So, before it, let's see the location of Oman. Now, you can see this is Oman, right? This is a Gulf country or a country in the Middle East, right? We can say Oman is located in West Asia or in Middle East. It is a Gulf country, right? So, if you see the location of Oman, it holds a strategic location as it is surrounded by, it lies near Persian Gulf and Arabian Sea, right? Gulf of Oman. And if we see this map, if you see the second map, this is Strait of Hormuz. And this is an important choke point which connects Persian Gulf, Gulf of Oman and also Arabian Sea, right? So we can see that Oman is lying at a strategic position in the Arabian Sea, right? Now, if we talk about this article, Oman is an important country for us, right? Especially in the engagement in Gulf nations, with the Gulf nations. And also Oman is important for the energy security of the country as India import significant amount of oil from Oman. And the relationship between India and Oman are quite cordial, right? Also, there are security partnership, right, or defense collaboration between Oman and India. This can be seen in terms of military exercises between these two countries, right? Also, there is a vast presence of Indian diaspora in Oman, which contribute to the forex, and this also indicates, or this also strengthens the soft power of India in the Gulf nations, right? And if we talk about another importance of Oman is that Oman can be a gateway for India for its access to gain access to West Asia and also to Europe. For this, there is a proposed India Middle East Europe connectivity line, right? When, if it is materialized, India can gain access to Middle East countries, Gulf countries, and also to Europe, right? And following the visit of Sultan to India, there are some important sectors on which there can be partnership between Oman and India, or the partnership between these two countries can be strengthened. These sectors are the collaboration in the space sectors, right? And the collaboration in the mining or exploration of rare or strategic minerals between these two countries, right? So in general, this is the crux of this article, right? Now, let's come again to the map. In this map, we already saw that Oman is a country, is a country in the Middle East. It lies between Persian Gulf and Arabian Sea, right? Or Gulf of Oman. And if we see the second map, you can see one location here. This is Musandam Peninsula. I can write it for you. Let me write it. Musandam Peninsula, right? So this peninsula, this is a part of Oman. But see, it is separated by UAE. Directly it is not connected to Oman. But this peninsula lies in between Persian Gulf and Gulf of Oman, right? And we can also say this is southwards to the Strait of Hormuz, right? And in this map, we also see one thing that, see, this is the location of Red Sea. If you can, let me change the color of the pen. See, this is the location of Red Sea. And this is the location of Mediterranean Sea, right? And if we look on the location of Saudi Arabia is the only country here in this map which shares a border with both Red Sea as well as Persian Gulf, right? So, based on this information, let us solve our practice question for the day. Now, why we have taken this question is that because UPSC asks questions regarding various geographical locations in news, okay? And this question is also important for your IR perspective. As in the year 2016, we found a question on Gulf Cooperation Council, right? Now, let's solve this question. The question says that Persian Gulf is connected to the Gulf of Oman by the Strait of Hormuz. Now, as we saw in the location, this is correct. This statement is correct, right? So, let's proceed to our second statement, which says that Musandam Peninsula is situated between Red Sea and Mediterranean Sea. Now, we already saw the location of this peninsula, right? this peninsula, this is located between Persian Gulf and Gulf of Oman, right? It is not located between Red Sea and Mediterranean Sea. So our second statement would be incorrect, right? And the third statement says that Saudi Arabia is the only country with a coastline along both Red Sea and Persian Gulf. So we already saw this in the location. This is a correct statement. As the question asked, how many of the above statements given above is or are correct? The correct answer would be only 2, as 2 statements are correct, right? Now let's move on to the second question of the day, which is regarding by-elections, right? Now see what happened. A member of parliament of Pune constituency in Maharashtra, he died in March 2023, right? And since March 2023, more than 6 months have been passed, right? And that Pune constituency is vacant. That is, there is no sitting member of parliament in that constituency. Okay. Now there is a demand that there should be by-elections to fill that constitutional post, right? In the Pune constituency of Maharashtra. In that sense, the Bombay High Court has instructed or has asked the Election Commission of India to conduct election to that vacant seat as soon as possible or immediately, right? Now, let's understand what are by-elections. Now, we all know general elections to the Lok Sabha, which are conducted after every 5 years, right? Now, if we talk about by-elections, this is a special provision of elections, and this only occurs in the case when there is a vacancy in a seat. This vacancy can be in state legislature, right? That is in the election of MLAs. This vacancy of seat can be in, say, Rajya Sabha and in Lok Sabha, right? And how is this vacancy caused? This vacancy can be caused in certain cases, say, death of a sitting MP. Other cases can be, say, the sitting MP or MLA has resigned from his post, right? In that sense also. The third reason can be the disqualification of that MP or MLA from that seat, okay? In these cases, there can be vacancy in a seat, right? And how is this vacancy going to be filled? For that, there are rules. Now, where are these rules written? These rules are in the Representation of People Act 1951, right? So, in a particular article or section 9 of Representation of People Act 1951, there are rules regarding by-elections. Now see, let's understand what are these rules. The rule is that no seat, if left vacant, cannot be left vacant for more than 6 months, right? That is, no seat should be left vacant for more than 6 months. But clearly in the case of Pune, we are seeing that the seat is left for more than 6 months. The seat is vacant for more than 6 months. But see, there is an exception also. There is an exception. Okay. So earlier we saw that no seat should be left vacant for more than 6 months. And in order to fill the seat, there should be by-elections, right? But there are some exceptions also. What is the first exception? The first exception is that if the term period for that particular seat, if the remaining term period is less than 1 year, right? If the remaining term period for this seat is less than 1 year, in that case, election cannot be conducted, right? Or the second exception is that, say, it is the Election Commission of India. It can not conduct by-election in such seat if it feels that it is very difficult to conduct election to that seat. And this can happen for some security reasons. Say, if there is an insurgency in Northeast, right? In that case, if any seat is vacant, Election Commission of India can cite that there is difficulty to conduct election, so there can be no by-elections, right? Or so in the case of security, that is, for the security reasons, this can be not conducted elections, right? So these are some of the provisions, some of the exceptions, or some of the rules regarding by-elections, right? Now, having seen this information, now let us solve our practice question for the day. Now, why we have taken this question is that the procedures of elections or the Election Commission as a body is important for our UPSC examination. We have seen multiple questions regarding this theme, and in the year 2020, we saw this particular question. Now let's solve this practice question, which says that consider the following statements about by-elections in India. The first statement is, in the case of Rajya Sabha, in a by-election, the elected member has a term of 6 years. Now see, this statement is incorrect. Now why? Because in the case of by-election, whether it is to Rajya Sabha, which is a permanent house, whether these elections are to Lok Sabha or to state legislatures, any newly elected members will only be elected for the remainder period, right? For only remaining period and not for a full term. That's why this statement is incorrect, because it should be only for the remaining period. So let's move on to second statement, which says that in case of Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies, the by-election has to be held within a period of 6 months from the time the seat falls vacant. So this is what we saw earlier, and this is a correct statement, right? Now let's move on to our third statement, which says that the Election Commission has been given the power to not conduct by-elections if it independently certifies that it is difficult to hold election. Now see, Election Commission has this power to certify that it is difficult to hold election, but this power cannot be exercised independently. For this, the Election Commission has to consult with union government, right? So with the concurrence of union government and Election Commission, the commission can certify, or it can certify that it is difficult to hold an election, right? So this statement becomes incorrect. Now, as our question asked, how many of the statement given above is or are correct? Our correct answer would be only one, right? Now, let's move on to our third topic for the day, which is our third MCQ, which is inspired by this news article, which appeared on page number 11 of the Hindu. Now, the context of this news article is that the G7 group of countries have extended or have put a ban on import of Russian diamonds, right? So it is a slew of ban which G7 countries have imposed on Russia right through the onset of Russia-Ukraine war, right? So now this ban is on the diamond which are 1 carat or more than 1 carat, right? Now, as you must be aware of this fact that India is a major hub for diamond processing. 90 to 95% of global diamonds in the world are processed in India, right? So in one sense, this ban could also impact India, because the raw diamonds from Russia are first brought to India and then they are processed and then they are exported or sold into global markets, right? But if there is a ban on Russian diamonds, the Indian government has said that this ban is not going to hurt India, because presently the majority of the diamonds, Russian diamonds, which India processes is less than 1 carat, right? Around 0.5 carats or around it. So India says that India is not going to be impacted from this ban or moratorium. So in this news article, let's see some more facts about G7 countries, right? And then we will solve a question on it. Okay, if we talk about G7 countries, G7 is an informal group of industrialized country, right? It is not a formal group, it's an informal group of major economies in the world. So what are the countries? As the name implies, G7, that is group of 7 countries, right? These countries are United States, Canada, right? Other countries, other members are United Kingdom, France, Germany, Italy, and Japan. Okay, so these are 7 countries, and in these meetings of G7 are held annually, right? And even European Union, the members of European Union can can assess these meetings, right? Can oversee, or they can to some extent participate in these meetings, right? But see, G7 is an informal organization, informal grouping, and it has been formed by a treaty. So it does not have a permanent secretariat, right? It does not have a permanent secretariat, right? So these are some of the facts relating to G7 countries. And now let's solve this question regarding it. Now, why we've taken this question is that because UPSC asks questions regarding various international groupings or organization, right? As in the year 2020, we saw this particular question, which was regarding the members of G20. Now, let's solve this question regarding G7. The permanent secretariat of G7 is located in Paris. This is an incorrect statement, as I already told you that G7 does not have a permanent secretariat. The second question is second statement is that most of the G7 countries have high level of gross debt. This is a correct statement, as major economies in G7, say Japan, have debt more than 200 times the GDP of Japan. Other countries which have enormous amount of debt are say US, Italy, and other countries, right? So this statement is correct. The third statement is recently a pandemic fund was introduced for pandemic prevention and response by G7. So yeah, this is also a correct statement regarding G7, right? It was this fund was proposed in the year 2021, right? So this is the correct statement. Now, as the question asked, which of the statement given above is or are correct? So the correct answer would be 2 and 3 only, option C, right? Now let's move on to our final MCQ for the day, which is regarding this news article which appeared on the explained section of Indian Express. Now this news article is regarding the rising climate change, the ongoing climate change, and the rising temperatures globally, and particularly in the Arctic region, right? Now, as we saw that 2023 has been the warmest year on record, right? Warmest year on record, and the global warming in Arctic is 4 times as compared to warming of other regions of the world. So Arctic is warming around 4 times more than the normal regions of the world, right? And apart from other things which can happen as a result of this warming is permafrost thawing. So thawing means melting, okay? So what is permafrost? See, permafrost is a layer of soil, or is a sub layer of soil which consists of ice particles. If you see this image, so this is permafrost, and this can occur on the land surface as well as it can occur in the ocean bed, right? This is ocean bed, and permafrost can occur here also, right? So this is a sub layer of soil which remains frozen throughout the year. That is, the temperature of the sub layer of soil is less than 0 degrees centigrade for a period of more than 2 years, right? If the temperature of any sub layer is less than 0 degrees centigrade for the period of more than 2 years or more, then it is classified as permafrost, right? So apart from this ice crystals, this soil consists of say sand, gravels, and other soil particles, right? Now what happens that if the Arctic is warming, this layer of soil is because it contains ice particles, so it is melting, right? So you can see this image here. Now as a result, what are the consequences? The consequences are that this region of soil, it also contains organic matter, right? And now when the ice is thawing or when the ice is melting, this organic matter, see, it becomes exposed. When this matter becomes exposed, then it starts degrading, okay, because of microbial action, right? And when it starts degrading, then there is the release of greenhouse gases. Importantly, carbon dioxide and methane. So it results into release of it is a huge storehouse of these greenhouse gases, and it results into release of these gases into atmosphere. Now this results as a feedback loop as this region becomes warmer, because of the presence of the heating potential of these gases, right? Now this is all about, this is an important fact about permafrost thawing, right? Now based on it, we have formed today's question. Now this topic is important for our for regarding the theme climate change and its impact on the critical geographical features, right? Based on this theme, also on resources, right? Based on this theme, in the year 2019, we found this question which was regarding methane hydrates, right? Now let's solve this question. The question says that with reference to permafrost, consider the following statements. The first statement is permafrost thawing is a result of low temperatures around Arctic regions. So this is an incorrect statement, as permafrost thawing is as a result of increasing temperature or high temperatures around Arctic regions, right? The second statement is thawing of permafrost regions can be a major source of greenhouse gaseous emissions. As we already saw, this can result into emission of greenhouse gases, right? So this is a correct statement. The third statement says that permafrost thawing can lead to glacial lake outburst floods, GLOFs. That is the burst of glacial lakes, right? So this is a correct statement, as this could be a consequence of melting ice in a large geographical extent. This can lead to the formation of glacial lakes, and ultimately these glacial lake can burst, right? And which can lead to GLOFs, right? So this is a correct statement. Now one more thing, if we see the location of permafrost, majorly it is located in Arctic regions, right? And this is also located in the tundra region, in the regions, in the countries Russia, China, we can see it, in Alaska region of USA, Greenland, and this permafrost is also present in the Himalayan region of India. Okay, so these shaded regions in purple color are the locations regarding permafrost, right? Now, as the question asked, how many of the above statements are correct? The correct answer would be only 2, right?